Hey guys, okay, so today I'm going to be doing a book review on the series Pretty Little Liars. I talk about it like all the time. It's like one of my favorite shows on TV, and after the first season aired, I definitely wanted to get my hands on the books so I could read ahead and find out what happened next. And I just finished the 8th book about 1 to 2 weeks ago. And I just want to share with you guys what I thought of the books and show you some of the different books in the series as well. And there's also a 9th book out now, and I believe at the end of the month there's going to be a 10th book. So it should be interesting. The 9th book is called Twisted, so we'll see what happens. But the first book I got was Unbelievable. And this one pretty much starts where the first season left off, with Hannah getting hit by the car. So I read this one, and I couldn't wait to get the next book. Well, there's actually 3 books before this one, if you're interested in getting like the whole series. But I just wanted to start where the first season left off. So that's that book. The next one is Wicked. And this is the one where Ian dies, Wicked. So I guess that would technically be this season that's currently on, because Ian dies. The next book is Keller. The 7th book is Heartless. And the last book is Wanted. And I actually downloaded the audio version onto my iPod, and I just listened to the last book on tape, which I really liked, because I feel like with this book series, your best bet, if you can get the audio version, get the audio version and listen to it, because otherwise you're gonna have to like go back and like reread stuff, because if you think the TV show's confusing, the books are too, but the books are so much better than the TV series. Which is true in most cases to anything that goes from a book to a movie or TV show. But I think they're a great read, so definitely check it out. But now I'm going to kind of go on to what kind of happens in the very last book before the 9th book. So if you haven't read the series yet, or you're watching the TV show and you do not want to know what happens, then I highly suggest that you stop watching this video, because I am going to go into detail about who A ends up being and what happens in the last book. And pretty much, I watched a video, I think Tiffany D did, I want to say. She did a book kind of reviewing the last book, and like I'm the type of person where I want to know before I read like what happens. Like I'm just patient. So I watched her video to find out what was going to happen in the 8th book, and I kind of already knew like who A was going to end up being because of like comments that people post everywhere, whether it's on ABC Family's Pretty Little Liars page or YouTube, you know, wherever. But it was kind of nice to hear her explain like how she thought about it, because then when I listened to the 8th book, I could kind of pick apart certain things and listen real close to certain parts. But pretty much in the end, A is Allie, or Allie, I don't know what you want to say, but Allie had a twin sister named Courtney, and pretty much the day of the time capsule when they all meet in Allie's backyard, it was actually Courtney in the backyard, it was not Allison, and that's kind of where Courtney picked the 4 girls and kind of started a friendship with them. She was actually in a mental institution, and she was she was first at the Radley, but then that weekend she was being transferred to the Preserve. So that weekend, both the twins were home. So Courtney pretty much befriended these 4 girls, met them, and her parents, Courtney was always saying that she was Allie. She wanted to be Allie. She wanted Allie's life. And she ended up convincing her parents that she really was Allie, and that the real Allie was her, Courtney. So they ended up sending the real Allison to the Preserve, which left Courtney behind pretending to be Allie. And that's why she, like, ditched Naomi and whatever the other girl's name was, because obviously they probably could tell that it wasn't really Allie. So she kind of had to ditch them, and she ended up making this new group of friends, which ended up being Hannah, Aria, Spencer, and Emily, because she knew that they probably would, like, worship her, and that she could, like, manipulate them, kind of. But then, the night of the sleepover, I forget if, Allie either came home that weekend, or she escaped from the Preserve, or something of that nature. And when they were inside the barn, while Allie was, like, hypnotizing them, apparently Allie was outside of the barn taking pictures of them. For what reason, I have no clue. The book really doesn't say why. But, yeah, so it ended up being that Allie killed Courtney. And that's what the book says. And then it ends with the girls finding out that, you know, Allie had a twin sister or whatever. And the parents have a press conference and everything and say, you know, this is Allison's twin sister Courtney. You know, she has a clean bill of mental health or whatever. And later on, Allie, Courtney, I don't confesses. The girls think that she's Courtney, but then she confesses to them one at a time that she's really Allie. That her parents got confused, sent the wrong girl to the Preserve, and, you know, this is their long-lost friend that they thought went missing and ended up dead. So they end up going to Allie's Pocono's house after a dance, and Allie wanted to recreate the night that she supposedly went missing. And so she wanted to, like, light a bunch of candles, close the curtains, and try to hypnotize them again. She ended up taking them to, like, one of the rooms in the house or whatever. And they said that, you know, it kind of smells funky in here or whatever. Then lo and behold, Allie locks them in the room. It's actually gasoline that's in there. And at this point, Spencer's sister Melissa is, like, missing. Like, Spencer hasn't heard from her. Her parents haven't heard from her. Well, she's actually in the closet because Allie locked her in a closet in the room. And then she's, like, stuck in the closet with Ian's dead, decaying body. Like, it's totally gross. Yeah, but then Allie, like, slips a note under the door explaining everything, like, how they switched, you know, how she killed her sister and all this stuff or whatever. But apparently, in the book, the Pocono's house has, like, secret passageways or doors, and that room actually had a secret passageway. So while Allie was setting the house on fire, they actually managed to get out through the passage door, and they thought that Allie was still inside the house when it, like, exploded. But apparently in the 9th book, they swear they see her when they're on vacation, like, I guess spring break. So I don't know, because at the end of the 8th book, it doesn't say if Allie is or isn't dead, so it leaves it open for more books. But I thought it was interesting. Some things just stood out to me in the 9th book, and I'm like, I had to write them down, like, because I knew that I'd forget or, whatever. But, some of the things that I thought was interesting was when Courtney, who's supposedly really Allie, told Emily about her and her sister in 3rd grade. Apparently they were in a swimming pool, and Courtney tried to drown Allie, saying that, she didn't deserve to be her, herself. And, I don't know, to me, I don't get it, because I'm thinking, Courtney is supposed to be the crazy one, who really wants to be Allie, like, take over her life. So I'm like, if Allie's the normal one, why is she the one killing everyone? Like, I didn't understand that whole situation. I just thought it was a little odd. But the best thing I can kind of think of is, if you've ever seen the movie The Roommate with Minka Kelly and Leighton Meester. Leighton Meester's character, I believe, his name is Rebecca, but she has like a bipolar disorder, I think it ended up being, and she was like obsessed with becoming Minka Kelly's character. And I feel like this is kind of where the books kind of relates to that in a way, because I feel Courtney was obsessed with being Allie, and even in The Roommate, Rebecca's character ended up trying to kill Minka's character so she could be her. So I kind of feel like maybe that's Courtney's issue. But yeah, that's one thing that stood out to me in the book, was when Courtney, who's supposedly supposed to be the real Allie, said that to Emily. That really stood out to me. I thought that was interesting. And the other thing that stood out to me is, apparently, Courtney, the one who originally befriended all the girls, and had the friendship with all the girls, the so-called Courtney that's really Allie now, it's so confusing, like, you're probably already lost, but, I think it's interesting that if she's supposedly Allie, I feel like she knows certain things that only Courtney would know from being friends with the girls. I don't think it's something that Courtney would have written in her diary or anything, like Emily's nickname Killer, like saying certain phrases in unison with the girls. Like, that kind of seemed a little odd to me. And let's see. And the last thing that really stood out to me, this part was kind of confusing in the book, and went kind of fast. I'm pretty sure I understood it right, but when they were at the Pocono's house, and Allie, Courtney pretending to be Allie, I don't freaking know, but in the 8th book, when they were at the Pocono's house, and they were recreating the sleepover night, and Allie was hypnotizing them, she told all the girls to, like, sit down, close your eyes, I'm gonna count, like, backwards from 100 down to 1 or whatever, and, it kind of zeroes in on Spencer, and what she's doing and what she's thinking, and there actually ended up being a Polaroid picture from that night of like a reflection outside the barn window, and all they could really tell was that was a heart-shaped face. And at this point, Spencer's kind of thinking back, and she's like, you know what? It wasn't Melissa's reflection. It was Allie's, or, yeah, Courtney. Well, she thinks it's Courtney at this point because the fake Courtney, who's really Allison, is saying, she's the real Allison. But then, this is the weird part. She kind of has like an out-of-body experience to where like she kind of gets up and goes over to the window in the room, and she's looking outside of it, and she sees Allie. And she notices a signet ring that has a letter A on it. And, Allie's kind of like saying these things, but as she's talking to Spencer, she starts deteriorating, like, her skin comes off, like blood. It's like a gross part. But she ends up like deteriorating outside the window. And she kind of flashes back to the night in 7th grade when Allie went missing. And she kind of turns around and she notices the girl standing in the room had a C ring on. But then she kind of looks back to the window. Allie's figure is not outside the window anymore. And she turns back around in the room, like present time, and she sees all the other girls, still having their eyes closed or whatever, and she looks over and notices the girl in the room still has a C ring on. So I thought that was interesting, because if the real Allie is with them, and her parents think she's Courtney and stuff, I'm thinking, why does she have the C ring on? Wouldn't she have the A ring on because she's Allie? But I thought that was really interesting. My prediction is that somehow or another, it's really Courtney, and she killed the real, true Allison. I think that's what's going to end up happening. Maybe that's why the next book is called Twisted. I don't know. She has a twisted mind. I don't know. But it would make more sense because Courtney was the one in the mental institutions that had issues. She apparently wanted Allie's life. So that was made clear. And I don't know. I just feel like the girl that was supposedly trapped in the house that was supposed to die of fire, that they don't know if is alive or dead or whatever, I think that really is Courtney. And she's saying that she's Allie. And I don't know, I just feel like that makes more sense. I don't know how, they were switched again or what, but that is my theory on that. I guess I'll find out when I read the 9th and 10th book. But it sounds really confusing, and it kind of is. That's why I really recommend at least get the 8th book on audio tape. So that is my spiel about Pretty Little Liars. Definitely go check out the books, watch the TV show. It's absolutely a great read and great to watch. So yeah, I will see you guys in my next video, and I hope you enjoyed this one.